Okay, I'm at 4015 Taylor Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. This is a new build. You can see there's the house there. Have multiple outside cleanouts here. The one closest to the curb, you can see there is the curb. And when we come in, they're both labeled MSDGC, which is the Metropolitan Sewer District of Greater Cincinnati. Anything beyond this point out to the street is owned and maintained by the sewer department, and then everything towards the house is obviously on the homeowner. And so this is a two-way clean out, meaning I can go upstream and downstream. And we're looking for any structural issues, anything that may have been, may not have been installed correctly, or any breaks or anything like that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go downstream, or actually we'll go upstream first, and we'll go back in towards the house. There's another clean out here, just so I should probably show that too, and so I can kind of tell you what's going on. So this one, like I said, if you look back, you can see we're right here at the corner of the driveway, excuse me. And then if you look back, there's another one further back towards the house. That one has a trap in it, meaning here they have a combined system where the storm water goes into the same sewer line as the sanitary, or your bathrooms, kitchen, stuff like that. That's considered the sanitary system. These are mixed here, and so this clean out back here that I'm not going into right now, that is the storm. So that's where your downspouts come in, your probably the area drain in the center of the driveway up by the garage. That would all come into that line, and then it's trapped so that stink doesn't come out, meaning it has like a trap like underneath your sink that's full of water, so that the smell of the sewer doesn't come out of the drain in your driveway and stuff like that, or your downspouts, so you can't smell it when you're near the house. They do that to isolate it, obviously, to keep it from stinking. So I will try to go through that and just kind of check it out to see how it's tied in. But as we go downstream, it looks like it goes immediately into, looks like clay, which would have been the original pipe material of the house. So so what they did is they used the original sewer tap out of clay, 6-inch clay, because it was still intact, and so from here out, now again, if anything structurally happens beyond this point, this is all on the sewer department, the Metropolitan Sewer Department, so it doesn't have to, so that's a good thing for the homeowner, that even though, since this was not replaced on a new home, it's because that's, they're not responsible for it. The Metropolitan Sewer District is, if it has any problems. So you can see we're looking down into the main. See, that's a very large pipe, because it has both sanitary and storm mixed into it. So those pipes are extremely large to try to carry the load with the when it rains hard. But the line from the clean out looks really good. That's what we want to see. Obviously, that piece there between here and the main has already been replaced by the sewer department at some point. But all this up in here, this original clay, all looks good. Take a look at that, make sure everything looks good there at that connection. And then now we are back in the clean out, and now we're going to turn, and we're going to go upstream, as long as we can get it to turn here. Sometimes it takes a minute to get the camera to go the direction you want because of how it's laying. Okay, and here we go now. We did get it to go upstream. Now, here is a perfect example. So we're looking back towards the house from this point. So it'd be like standing in the street and looking back up towards the house. And you see the line to the right. That Y, that is where the storm line comes in. And so that's where that other clean out is that I showed earlier, with another that is also labeled the Metropolitan Sewer District of Greater Cincinnati. So it has the same initials. They put that in also. But this is where the storm on the right comes into the sanitary. So from here back, this is all the new sanitary line. And there is a backflow preventer at the very high end inside the utility room in the basement. And that is just to make sure that if there is a lot of rain and the main sewer out in the street gets overloaded with rain, with water, that if it starts to push the water back up this pipe, that backflow preventer is supposed to prevent it from, coming out all over backing up into your basement. And so I believe that spot right there is another clean out. We can check that on the way out. There is another regular house clean out up by the garage, right by the entrance to the garage. So sometimes when you're going upstream like this, the pipe shrinks, and so we want to see if we can get through there, because the pipe size increases as it goes downstream, and since we're going upstream, it doesn't want to go into that smaller pipe. Sometimes if I bounce the camera around enough, well, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to. I'm going to pull back to that other clean out, and then I may have to I have a little attachment on the front of the camera. It's a little ball that holds the camera up. So I may want to do is, I may have to take that off. That might help get that camera through that little narrowing there, but basically what it is using 4-inch inside the house, and then when it exits it turns to 6-inch. And so going downstream it gets bigger, and the water, so obviously there's no obstruction. Going upstream against the flow, it gets smaller, and so sometimes it prevents the camera from going where you want it to, because there's also a turn at that same point. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to locate where this other clean out is to verify it is the one I already have open, and then we'll also try to look for a spot where, if nothing else, I can access at the backflow preventer, remove that flap, and then go out from there and inspect that short piece of pipe. Alright, so this is not actually the clean out. This is where the line comes over and comes in, which is a little surprising. I thought this would be because it does, since there's something coming in from above. So what it is when I get back to here, I'm actually right around in here where it reduces. That's where the other clean out is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. We're going to go in from where I am actually right at the clean out when I get all the way up there like that, where it reduces. And then there's a clean out right there at the edge of the garage and driveway, garage floor and driveway, right outside in the driveway. There's another metal plate, a smaller one. And that's where the interior line comes out, and they have a clean out in that 4-inch before it turns to 6. So we're going to pull back. This all looked wonderful, by the way. There's no issues at all. But we're going to make sure we do the sanitary first, and then I will come back out here and I will try to do a little bit of the upstream storm also, just to see how that looks. Normally we don't do storm lines, but since it is tied into the sanitary, we'll go ahead and take a look. So, I'm going to pause the video for a second and we'll make a move. Alright. So, we'll show you where we are. Here is the clean out. Like lines off a little bit. So here is the clean out I was talking about, and if you see, you look out, there is the driveway. Now there is another what looks like a clean out over there that's covered in concrete a little bit. That is probably for the drain, for the box drain there in the middle of the driveway. But anyway, we're going to go in through here now. This is also a two-way clean out, so we're going to go upstream into the 4-inch, and then we'll go downstream a hair too, just to check that transition. But we may end up having to take that ball off anyway. All right. So here's where the sanitary comes in. Is up above, which is kind of strange. Yeah, we're going to take that ball off because it looks like there's some buildup in here. And I'm not sure where that line is coming from, so we're going to have to check that. But I'm going to have to pause the video real quick and take the ball off the front of the camera. All right. So we've removed the attachment off the camera, and then we're also going to check, like I said, I'm running some water there in the basement, and there you go, there's a little bit of debris there, so I want to flush the toilets and stuff like that. There's a backflow preventer in there in the room with the HVAC, and that is, can't get the lid off. It really doesn't. The only thing it's there for is right before the floor drain where the condensate goes in, and that's due to the backflow preventer is there to keep any water from backing out of that floor drain, like I mentioned, if the storm or something gets overloaded. So structurally this all looks good. There's a little bit of debris in the line. You can see right where we first went up, but we're heading back to that. And here we are going into the back bathroom there in the basement. Okay, so there's a little bit of stuff in here. We're going to run some water. I'm going to pause the video again, and we're going to try to run some water upstairs and stuff and flush this line out a little bit. Alright, so this is actually right where the last floor drain comes in, the condensate, which is why there's water in it, but it's not enough to really flow or push out this little bit of dirt and stuff like that. But if you go through and maybe dump a little bit of water down the line, you'd be able to see, you'd be able to flush that out a little bit. But it's not a concern. Structurally the line looks great. But you can see where the back bathroom, everything comes in right here to the right. So what I'm trying to do is flush. We know that we saw on the way in that everything looked good. We're just trying to see if we can flush out some of this debris and stuff, because it probably came down through that floor drain when they as they were cleaning up and spraying off the concrete. It's pretty normal. It's not anything that's going to cause any issues, but you can see how the water, the more water you flow, the level in the line kind of increases. So what we're trying to do here is just find those spots where there's that. I wanted enough water in the line so that on the way back we can kind of flush the debris out, kind of moving it back and forth, and we'll try to drag some of that, break it loose, try to drag some of that out with us as we go. Because sometimes there's not enough until you get in here and run some laundry and all that good stuff. There may not be enough, might not be enough flow to pull that stuff out, that's all. Looks like I've broken it up pretty good. Looks like it's all flushed out. can actually see the water. I can from here see the water thinning out. So push back up through here again. I just want to make sure all that's out of there, and then we'll go in and we'll turn the water off. Because all this looks open now. It just needed to be flushed out. There's a little bit of debris. But nothing of any concern, like I said. Once we get past here, this is where the water turns and goes back into that floor drain. So that's why that stuff is sitting there. It's not a concern. Just a little bit of stuff that got in that floor drain. It's not going to cause any backups. Like I said, nothing, no other lines, the bathrooms, nothing else comes through that line until you get past this point, which is why it's not flushed out. That's all. But the line looks great. And so what we're going to do again, I'm going to pause the video. We'll turn that water off, let it drain down. Take a look. All right, you see the water level has dropped, all the water's turned off, and so we'll pull back through here and make sure that that little bit of debris that we saw in there earlier is gone. It was right there as we got into it, so this is probably, like I said, from them cleaning around, and then some of that stuff goes down the floor drains and stuff, so it's not abnormal, but you can see that the mud, how it was flushing out. So we probably should run it a little more just to try to flush all that mud out of there, because that happens when they put the lines together. And they run some water through it. It's not an opening in the pipe or anything, it's just where they put it all in, the dirt gets in there where they're putting it underneath the thing. So, I mean, it looks like it's flushed out pretty good, but we still, once you get in here and you, like I said, it's only a few feet here. So structurally everything is fine. It just needs to be, again, once you get in here and run the, do laundry and all that, this will soften up and run on down the line. You can see I got rid of a lot of it already. And there's a line through it, so. Alright, so we pulled all the way back. We're back in the line, and the sanitary line looks good. So again, what I'm going to try to do is see if I can go upstream at all from the clean out, from the storm clean out here. I'm going to go ahead and move on out there. And we'll see, because there is a trap on it, but I'm going to actually pause the video for a second so I can get it set up a little better. Alright, and we're going to see if we can get this to go through the little bit of the storm. It's not a huge deal here, but still want to check it if we can. So it's hard for me to see is the problem. I'm sure it comes in high. There it is. And so the storm line comes in high, so we'll see if we can get it to go, but I probably won't be able to. At the bottom of this clean out is the at the bottom of the clean out there is a trap so that the so what we're trying to do here is where this drops in is just to see if we can get in, but the way this drops in, I'm not going to be able to get my camera to go up in it. We'll see. We'll try one more thing before I give up, but but we have already checked the sanitary, the main line. All the all the bathrooms and everything. I was just hoping, since we have access partially, I was hoping I'd be able to. Yeah. Cannot get it to go in there. I was trying to use a little hook, but it doesn't look like this is going to work. So I'm going to pause the video. I'll see if I can get it real quick, and then I'll start it if I can. Alright, so yeah, I can't get it to go up the storm line, but like I said, normally we don't do the storm anyway, but in this case I was going to try to. But you can see there is a connection halfway up. The camera's hanging. You can see in the bottom left hand corner there's an angle indicator on the camera. So we're hanging, and of course there's so much water dripping down off the ends of the lens that you can't really see, but try to wipe it off and it just more runs out of the edge of the camera. But as you go down, you can see there it is. There's a connection on the vertical, and that's where the storm line comes in, and then it drops down, goes through a trap, and then ties into the sanitary immediately. So at any rate, the line looked really good. Structurally everything was great. There were no structural issues at all. That little bit of debris that was in there from construction, it's actually from the installation, will flush out with heavy use, meaning, you know, once people get in here and start actually running showers and doing laundry is usually a big one because it's a big rush of water all at once. That'll rinse that little bit of mud and stuff that was in that line. It'll rinse it on down and it'll be gone shortly. So nothing to worry about at all. But yeah, everything looked good, so nothing to really report on. Just the little bit of information about the different clean outs out here again. So the one closest to the street is the full sanitary and goes both directions. The one a little bit closer to the house that also has the MSD symbol on it, that is the storm that comes out of your downspouts and your area drain in the driveway, comes into this and then drops through a trap and then goes into the sanitary also. You have a backflow preventer inside next to the floor drain in the utility room area where the HVAC is, and that is to keep if the storm line backs up. Now I was unable to get that open. It's wedged in there pretty good. I tried a few tricks, so I was unable to inspect that visually. Normally, you know, you can get those to come out. They're kind of weird because they're so far set down in there, so sometimes they are hard to get out, but usually we can get them out and take a look. I was just unable to get it unscrewed. So but I did see the placement of it before the floor drain so that if it backs up, it will not back up into the house. Everything else looks great. The line is in great shape structurally, no low spots or any breaks or anything like that. So that'll end the inspection at 4015 Taylor Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio.